Hi guys, so today we're tackling a commando mission. So just landing here, and I've landed on a reinforcement link hell pods thing, so we're going to get that done immediately. And then we'll bring down everything we've got, so resupply solo silo, the C4 pack, jump pack, and railgun for this mission. And the reason for the railgun is for the 3 anti-air emplacements. So we'll try and C4 those if we can get close to them, if we can see the opportunity. But if not, then we use the jump pack to get around the map and take them out. Okay, so we're starting with the fortress, I believe. And I just want to say up front that this mission took me roughly 8, 9, 10 attempts to get done. And the reason for that is one of them was my fault. Okay, but the other 7 or 8 of them were down to stealth jank. So the jankiness of being spotted by turrets and the like when you should not have been spotted. So for instance, I threw a C4 on a fab, and then a tank turret in one of the bases here just decided to snipe me, even though he should not have even been alerted to my presence. Stuff like that was happening. As I said, so 7 or 8 times. It's just, again, it's host jank with Arrowhead and Helldivers 2. I find it incredibly frustrating because, it takes a long time to make these videos when really I'd probably get it done in a few attempts. Okay, so I'm going to stop complaining now because I did enough of that in my previous video, complaining about the state of the new post-patch bots. So we'll just carry on with the mission now, and these missions have become a little bit harder because this is post-patch, and I believe this is an incineration core / jet brigade planet. So there is the added bonus of both of those enemies being on here. But not only that, is since the patch, they've increased the number of enemies that are kind of stationary, or that are stationed at the outposts and at the the places where you need to collect the data from and stuff like that. So yeah, these missions are getting a bit more difficult now, which is good, I think, because previously they were too easy. If it wasn't for, as I said, the stealth jank, the jankiness of, being detected when you really shouldn't be detected, I think these missions would be very easy. It's only really the jankiness that kind of gets me detected 9 times out of 10. Okay, so we're making our way around the fortress and planting the C4s on the fabricators. So usually my tactic here is to come in from this sort of angle and shoot a few of the smaller bots and then chuck the C4 on this fab out front. However, there was a War Strider there, and War Striders are famously known for aggroing onto you for even the slightest movement. So I decided to risk it by sneaking up here, because there was no way I was going to get my usual shot off, and I can't even climb up this slight mound here. Another bit of jank. So I decided to come here and toss one over the top there, and luckily the War Strider doesn't notice me, so maybe the distance there. So you can see I've still got 1 C4 in the hand, which means I've deployed 6. So I'm hoping all 6 of those have landed on the fabricators of the fortress. And I've seen a small outpost just to the east there. So I'm kind of hoping I can go over there and it's just going to be a 1 fab case. So I kind of get a bit of high ground and have a scout. And I can see that from there I can see only one, so I decide to go over there with my one remaining so my one remaining brick of C4, and I'm going to toss that one on there, and then fingers crossed that should be the outpost and the fortress destroyed. And again, with the host jank of the stealth, I'm not going to not going to detonate the C4 until I'm kind of in a bit of cover, a bit away from all the bots. I don't want to be in any kind of in their immediate kind of view before detonating the C4, because they can cotton onto where you are quite quickly, even though that shouldn't be a thing. It is a thing if you're the host. I haven't played stealth as the client, as not the host, so I can't speak to that experience. But certainly as the host, you get spotted quite a few times when you shouldn't be. When you're blowing stuff up from a distance, all of a sudden a few bots are like, oh, there he is. So that was one of the issues I had with one of these missions, where I blew something up from a distance, and then I got a bunch of marauders come chasing after me, and they suddenly knew where I was for absolutely no reason at all. Yeah, not good fun. Okay, so we're back to the location of our stuff, and I pick up some more supplies for the C4 pack. And we head on our merry way. Okay, so there's another small outpost here, so this should definitely be a one fab outpost. So since the latest patch, they have increased, as I said, the amount of enemies that are at outposts, and if you're doing the keycard mission, there's a lot more enemies inside of the outpost where you have to locate the keycard. So it does make it a lot more difficult to kind of sneak in. And I've noticed that they've introduced war striders a lot into these missions as well, whereas that didn't seem to be the case as much before. So I think perhaps Arrowhead, what they've done is they've introduced the stealth missions. They've allowed us to get used to how they work, and the basics and the mechanics of how the missions work, and give us a chance to test our skills. And then they have quite cleverly upped the difficulty on us, which is good. It's good news. As I said, they were a bit too easy, I think, even after a few days of practicing, and even with the host jank, they were still to a degree easy. So it's good that they've upped it a bit. So yeah, we get the reinforcement pods done, and then this should be a slightly larger outpost. So probably 4 fabricators, and this is the one. Sometimes you get a dog in the middle, sometimes you don't. So you can sneak up on this corner one quite easily. This one, if there's no dog in there, you can usually throw from here. Just make sure you get your reticle aligned properly. Okay, so if there is a dog in there, I have been spotted from that position, so be careful. I actually tried to throw down a smoke grenade and then throw in the C4 block afterwards, and the dog spotted me. And I think it was because I threw down the smoke grenade, which is kind of counter to what you'd expect, because I then did it later on in another mission without throwing the smoke grenade, and the dog didn't spot me. So yeah, not entirely sure what to tell you on that one. If there is a dog in there, just be mindful and get ready to throw smoke grenades and run away, basically. Okay, so just one more fab to go, and this is the most difficult one. So you can kind of stealth up here. Not stealth. You can kind of jank up there, but I think I saw a patrol coming. which is why I've decided to run away. I didn't want to dive up there and have the patrol spot me as I was scrambling around on the floor trying to get my footing. So as you can see on the map there, quite a few enemies in the points of interest, which wasn't the case before the patch. There would usually be 3 or 4 reinforced rocket striders, maybe a Hulk, and that would be about your lot. But now on the map, I mean, I couldn't actually see. I didn't go and have a look, but on the map there seems to be quite a cluster of enemies there. Okay, so I've decided to go back in. It's taking me a bit of time on this one, unfortunately. Just it's better to be safe than sorry on these missions, I think. You don't want to risk a patrol spotting you because, again, as host, I'm not sure what it's like as the client, but when you throw down the smoke grenade and run away, you don't always get away with it. I kind of find that I have to get quite some distance and throw a couple of smoke grenades behind me. But these biomes with all the verbiage, all the trees, all the rocks, they definitely do help. Okay, so you can see War Striders in there, and it's pretty full of enemies by the looks of things as well. Yeah, let's go again. See if I can climb this without any issues. So I find the best way to do this one is just to stand still on that corner and dive across. Don't try to run and dive across. So a little tip there, making sure I'm on deploy because I don't want to jeff this up. So you can squeeze through here, but I think, yeah, War Striders see me. Luckily, no other bots saw me, otherwise they could have called in a drop. So I threw a smoke grenade down there. And that seems to have done the job. So I want to kind of recycle here. And I decide to detonate what I've already done. And I noticed that the fortress has not actually been destroyed. So I obviously missed one of the C4 on one of the fabricators at least. So always disappointing when that happens. So pick up some more supplies. And I'm kind of hoping that it's just one fab. Because obviously these missions take quite some time. We're already down to 25 minutes, I think, at this point. Normally I'd expect one of the harder fabs to not have blown up, but it was one of the easier ones. So not sure how I missed that one, but certainly happy that it was one of the easier ones. Okay, so heading back to that 4 fab outpost that we were struggling with, and I'm assuming that it's just going to be the one that we didn't get originally, where the War Strider was kind of camped out. So again, I mean, not looking forward to trying to tackle with this, or at least I wasn't at the time. Obviously, I'm recording the audio in post here. So we stim to get a bit of stamina back. And we're actually, at this point, I think we're down to 1 stim instead of 2 when you land. So less stims, so can't really stim as much on this mission. But so I climb up here, and luckily he doesn't see me. I immediately crouch or duck down. Then I crouch, make sure I get that on there. Then he does see me. Not sure why he sees me at the end. Because I was lying down, he didn't see me. I was crouched, he didn't see me. I threw 2 C4s on the fab, and maybe he saw me on the second throw. but he certainly didn't see me on the first one. So yeah, again, bit of stealth jank, but we have the C4 down, and the fortress and that outpost are now destroyed. So, I mean, the fortress does take quite a bit of time when you've got to kind of circle around it, and there's 6 babs. It depends on the layout you get as well. But that is quite a bit of time to be taking for the fortress and 1 outpost. Now, I know that the anti-air emplacements don't take too long, because you can use the railgun on those, coupled with the jump pack. However, before we get to that point, I'm just looking at the map, deciding what to do. So the what's it called? The bio processors, or whatever they're called. The other side objective, the blue one. Now the C4 can't take them out directly. I think you have to maybe plant quite a few on there, or damage the processors, the whatever they're called, beforehand, before you throw the C4. So my ploy on this mission is to use the solo silo on the bioprocessors, and I haven't actually done this before, so I'm taking a risk. I don't know if it can or cannot destroy the processors, so we will find out. The black box is there, and I get pretty lucky with that. It's pretty out in the open and easy to see. Not too many enemies around. I think there was a patrol to the left there. So jump pack away. So that is gold. So making our way through this underbrush. Now, this kind of biome is good and bad. It's good because you get a lot of cover. However, it is a bit detrimental in the way that when you're trying to pass between points of interest and outposts and side objectives, is because these maps are smaller and everything is so closely knit together, it's pretty clustered. And because of that, when you're trying to navigate between places so you don't get spotted, because of all the trees and rocks and stuff in the way, you then actually get less kind of areas to move to. So it has its benefits, but it also has its downsides. So as you can see, I've decided to drop the black box here, call in my super destroyer, and then call in all my stuff again. So this is my usual tactic. I call in my stuff in 2 places and kind of get little bases set up, so I've got everything down and I can come back and return to both places whenever I need. So I've still got the silo in hand, or the gun, the pointer in hand. So I'm trying to get a bit of height. I'm not sure I'm close enough here, so I continue on. So I'm trying to get a bit of height to see where the processors are. And I think sometimes, because there's 3 in this one, and I think sometimes two of them are close together and one of them's kind of off on its own. So I send the silo in there, and I believe it destroys at least one of them, if I remember rightly. And then I think I come back and possibly get... Oh no, I think I remember what happens here. Or is it a little bit later on? Sorry, I'm just trying to recall what happens. Yeah, so there's a patrol there. So I can't actually... unfortunately, I can't hear the recording when I'm recording the voiceover. I'm on Share Factory, and that is something I haven't figured out how to do. I don't know if it's even possible, to be honest. So I can't hear the patrols and stuff. Okay, so what happens here is a patrol goes through, and this is, again, a bit more stealth jank. When the patrols go through, they get stuck on your pods. So any weapons and stuff you've brought down, they're stuck on my pods now. So I'm going off to do one of the reinforcement pods in the meantime. I'm kind of hoping by the time I get back, the Hulk and his buddies will have fucked off. So yeah, more time wasted because of a bit of Helldivers jank, unfortunately. So back we go. And I mean, we haven't been away for too long, so I'm not really expecting anything to have changed by the time I get back. So I think I can see there that they're still hanging around. And I don't have time to wait, and I don't have anything else really to be done. So I think at this point I decide to sneak in and try and get my stuff.
Dropping a pin.
Because my other stuff, so what I could use is the railgun at the top of the map to take out the anti-air emplacements, but it's right at the far north, so I don't really want to be going all that way just to get my railgun. And then there's another random what's it called, Devastator, or whatever they're called, just fucking glitching out over there. So he could just randomly see me for absolutely no reason because he's glitching out. But I take the risk, get the solo silo, and sneak out of there. Now the actual silo, the rocket itself, is just behind those guys. So if I fire it, then maybe by the time I get back, they will have disappeared somehow or despawned. But who knows? Okay, so solo time on the bioprocessors. So it's second one of the match. I'm really hoping that this will destroy it in totality. So I've kind of caught it there out of the corner of my eye.
Objective nearby.
And it is advisable to check your map a lot when you're roaming through the underbrush, I think. So we get that one on there.
Dropping a pin.
Solo silo doesn't destroy it. So back we go to our kind of base camp, if you will. I'm pretty sure those guys have disappeared at this point, so super happy about that, obviously.
Tagging map.
But yeah, these missions are still fun, I think, despite so C4 pack, refill for stims and smoke grenades. So these missions are still fun, I think. Obviously, it's incredibly frustrating when you get spotted because of jank through no fault of your own. But you know, classic Helldivers. Okay, so this outpost, you have a dog in there. Again, you have to be very careful. So the best way I've found to get this one is to ping it to get the distance. And then when you're about 35 yards away, just that kind of angle. And that usually lands on it. But take out that little dude on the turret first. So that would be the first two fabs dealt with, fingers crossed. And then we make our way around to the other side where we can tag the other 2 fabs. And you can take these guys out. I prefer to take them out from this side because you get a better angle. It's not 100% necessary unless you're planning on walking underneath them later on, if you're going the reverse way around to what I've done here. So this one you can usually safely throw from there, and then there's usually a couple of little grunts in here. So be careful that the rocket strider doesn't catch on to you, because normally he doesn't. So I don't know whether this is a new thing, but he turns around there, but then luckily he turns back around, which is fantastic. And then you can sneak in, but I remain crouched here when I'm throwing that one. But then the rocket strider does cotton onto me. Luckily I've taken care of those 2 guys already, so they won't be firing at me. And I throw a smoke and get the fuck out of dodge. But again, like, smoke grenade out. Don't know who's seeing me there. Maybe they're firing at the smoke. I don't know. The other thing I found about the smoke grenades, is the smokescreen ones at least, is that sometimes when you've thrown it, it changes back to your primary weapon, or the weapon you had in hand last. And so I go to throw another one and it's changed, and I accidentally shoot my gun, which is not ideal. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm not sure if that's a glitch anybody else has experienced. Let me know in the comments if you have. So yeah, due to a couple of moments of jank, we've got only 13 minutes left. So let's have a look. So another outpost here by the looks of things. I think it's a small one, maybe 1 or 2. So yeah, if you're crouched or on the floor, then you can normally get the C4 off pretty safely without being spotted. I do find it best to try and be out of the cone of vision of bots as well when I'm throwing stuff, especially as host. So we'll get these what's it called done, the reinforcement pods done while we're here, because we do want the full clear, or at least I tried to get the full clear. So yeah, as I said before, they're making these missions harder, and one of the ways they're making these missions harder, the same as the usual Super Helldive missions as well, is that they are adding more outposts to these missions. So these little 1 or 2 fab outposts have increased. A bomb there. Should have actually thrown C4 down on that just for funsies, but I think I was too preoccupied with the map, trying to figure out which fabs I had done and which I hadn't. So stim to get a bit of stamina back. As I said, I was kind of trying to be a little bit more, what's the word? Not cautious, but yeah, a little bit more economic with my stimming on this map. Usually I just stim for fun to get around the map a bit quicker, but because you only get 1 stim when you drop in, I tried to save my stims for when I really needed them on this time. And it's a good idea to always have 1 stim left, just for emergencies. So if you need to drop a smoke grenade and get the hell out of there, then make sure you've got 1 stim left for that. So Toss one on there. So then essentially I think that gives us all outposts.
Objective near your position.
Now I'm pretty close to this anti-air, so I'm debating whether to C4 that one, but decide against it. And also I need to do the bioprocessors, so I decide to try and use the C4 on this. So there's one left, and maybe that's why.
Fire in the hole!
Okay, so how many C4 do I throw in this bad boy? So all four. So all four C4s on that. Oh, leg break. Maybe not leg break, but you know,
Dropping a pin.
damage all the same. So we'll see here. Yeah, so see how close everything is here? Like, outpost or main objective on the right. Little kind of outcropping of defenders on the left. So detonate, light automaton done. Light automaton outpost done. So looking at the map, it even took out the bioprocessors. Although I don't think I got the notification there, but whatever. So maybe 4 C4s to the bioprocessor is enough. I know I've thrown 2 on it before, and it hasn't worked. So if there's 4 in there and you've got 7 C4, then two per you know, tube or processor or whatever you want to call it isn't really enough, and it's going to take some time. So I'll have to do a bit more testing on that. Maybe 3 C4 is enough, and you can come back and go in again. Or it might be a case of that 4th one was damaged by the solo, and that helped take it out. Okay, so running out of time here. So jump pack, supply, railgun in hand, and I think we've only got the anti-air emplacements left to do. So this is my go-to ploy for the anti-air emplacements, my tactic, and I find this much quicker than trying to sneak up and plant the C4, which obviously comes in handy when you've wasted a lot of time running around the map as I have. And I've noticed that for the most part you don't get spotted as long as you take out the anti-air emplacement turret with one shot with the railgun. I don't know about other weapons. I've only used the railgun against them, so perhaps the railgun is a little bit more stealthy than other weapons. I don't know.
Tagging map.
So I am a bit more frivolous with the old stims at this point because I do have like 10 to 12 minutes left. And I want to obviously not jetpack into a bot fortress by mistake. Or a bot outpost by mistake. But yeah, I'm still enjoying these missions to a degree. I might do another one soon for the channel. I was trying to do the keycard one to show you guys how many enemies are in the outpost now, because you have to actually sneak into those little bases and get the keycard, which I didn't have a problem with the sneaking in and getting those cards. But I did get a fair bit of jank outside, and I got destroyed by turrets and stuff like that. So I got pissed off basically and gave up because of the amount of jank I was getting, and I decided to try this mission instead. So there are more enemies on this mission, but I do think this mission out of those 2 is the easier of the 2. And then the camera one I haven't tried again since the patch. I'd imagine that's a bit harder because you have to sneak in a lot more and take the recordings. So I'd imagine the sneaking in parts are a bit tougher because there's going to be more enemies around to sneak past. Okay, so this one I think has 3 on it. So I just get a smoke grenade down there as a precaution because I saw a rocket strider nearby and I didn't want him to aggro onto me. I don't know if he would have done, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, so I actually came over to do this one first because I thought the other one had 3 turrets on, but this is actually the one with 3 turrets. Okay, so coming around here, getting a better look. Spot it through the smoke. So that's that one done. Smoke grenade down, just in case. See, I think the 3 enemies that aggro onto you the most when you're trying to stealth are the Hulks, the War Striders, and the Reinforced Rocket Striders. So if you're shooting stuff or placing C4 on stuff and those enemies are around and you're the host, then I think you have to be pretty dutiful in those scenarios. You have to be very careful of when you throw stuff. As you saw earlier, I was crouching on that outpost and the War Strider didn't see me. I threw a couple of C4s and I was still crouching. Then I turned to get out of there and that seemed to be when he kind of locked onto me. I hadn't really changed anything. I was still crouching. So I don't know why all of a sudden he, spotted me. So yeah, just be careful if you do see any of those enemies. And it's the same with shooting the railgun, I think, for these enemy anti-aircrafts. Okay, so we're getting close now. It's just a case of shooting the turrets. And then I think this is the final objective, and then we can head back to extraction. So there's only 2 on this one, which is probably good. So you do have to use the railgun on unsafe mode, by the way, if you want to one-shot these anti-tank emplacements. If you use safe mode, it takes 2 shots and you risk getting spotted. So I could just see the back of it there. To get that down, smoke grenade out because I think that was War Strider shots there. As I say, I can't actually. I mean, I don't know. Look, I think that's a grenade from a War Strider. And how far away am I at that point? I've run away a little bit and I've jetpacked away, and his grenades are still reaching me. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say absolute bullshit, but absolute bullshit. So job done. As I said, these missions are really fun when the jank doesn't get you, which it inevitably does. Some of the jank you can avoid, some of the jank you just can't. So I'm not sure why I changed jump packs there. Maybe I thought it was a hover pack, because I usually bring the hover packs for these missions, because the hover pack is a little bit easier to get you into a safe spot at the end here. However, I couldn't bring the hover pack on this one because I need the railgun. Okay, that's not jank. That's just dumbassery. So, wait for the jump pack to recharge. Hopefully no patrols come by and destroy me for my stupidity there. And nice and safely jump up with the black box in hand. And Yeah, mission over. We have to wait for Pelican 1 to come in. 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes. And just wait while the patrols come past. The endless amount of patrols. Yeah, jank diving. Little reminder to myself to talk about the jank diving, but I didn't really need a reminder, to be honest. So yeah, this mission wasn't too janky. A couple of moments where I thought I shouldn't have been spotted where I was spotted. But on the whole, it was okay. As I said, the worst jank is when you get spotted by a turret where you shouldn't have been spotted by a turret and you just get one shot. So yeah, waiting for Pelican 1 to come in. So the idea here is throw my one remaining smoke grenade down, my smokescreen, and then pick up the package and jump onto Pelican 1. A few burly lads coming in there.
This is Pelican 1.
That is quite the patrol. 2 Hulks and a few other dudes.
Pelican 1, landing in progress.
Definitely don't want to be messing with those guys. Okay, so Pelican 1 absolutely shredding everything for me. Probably a good thing this time round.
Stand by for takeoff.
Smoke screen down and on I go.
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 begins.
And that's the mission. Okay, so no deaths, which is good, obviously. I did try to do these ones with no deaths. Because I kind of feel like that's the whole point of the mission, is to come in, stealth it and get out and not die and not get any bot drops. So pretty pleased with that after, several attempts and some jank. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're enjoying these missions still, how are you finding the extra difficulty, the increase of numbers, and how are you finding the jank if you're host, and how are you finding the lack of jank if you're client? So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and hopefully see you in the next one.